myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It's a pre-recorded version of Geordies here, Geordies there, and it's a welcome to George, to Stu, to Al-Walid, to Steve and to Mitch, talking Newcastle United, of course, and talking England. And let's start with England. Stu, what are you doing up there? Get down there, son.
I used to be in the top row.
As a nice gesture, Stu, I'll come to you first because you're a new resident England fan, as we know. A comprehensive win for England, mate. 3-0.
As predicted, I did say it'd be 3-0. I said Kane would score one. I said he scored two actually, but he did get one. I don't know if you want predictions now for the next game or
we'll keep that till the end. But yeah, I mean, it was a good performance. You couldn't deny it. I mean, Senegal created a few problems in that opening 20 minutes, but all in all, that's more like it from England.
Yeah, once they found their feet and they started passing the ball around a bit quicker, there was only one team going to win it, and the quality that we know they've got shone through on the day. And you've got to give Southgate credit where he's due. He made some big calls. I don't think many people have seen Rashford not starting after his 2-goal salvo against Wales. But he dropped them. It was the right call to make. So fair play. Let's see. We'll see on Saturday.
Yeah, we certainly will. Steve, interesting to see, the changes that Southgate's made. As always with managers, highly criticised, that some players are playing and some players aren't. But he got it right again.
Well, I think he did. I think what I saw was the main change at half-time where he seemed to step up a bit. There was still, and I think they'll get caught if they do this against France, is this Steve Bruce style passing back and forward between Stones and Maguire, which I think they did, and they nearly got caught out once on the first half there. And I think if they do that against France, they'll get punished. Second half, they looked as though they were trying to get it forward more, which is what you've got to do, get the ball up front, and if it is going to go to Harry Kane at midfield and Bellingham and the others, then it can move more quickly into the areas that matter, and that's what seemed to happen. As for France, I don't know whether we're going to preview that. I'm still not certain about that defense against the likes of Mbappe and I forgot the brother's name on the right hand side. Dembele, and up front as well. They've got threat, and I'm not sure whether he'll go to a 5, 3 at the back and wing backs, which perhaps allows Kieran Trippier to get in as well as Kyle Walker, because we know what's happened to Kyle Walker against DSM, and if Mbappe runs at him in the same way, then England's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, definitely. Al-Walid, you've got "It's Coming Home" on there on your name. It's certainly getting a little bit more confident, England fans. But big game coming up against France. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But yeah, they played well, didn't they, against Senegal?
Yes, and now it's reality time. Quarter final is really reality time, and I believe still England didn't have the real test, and I think that France is the real test, and I think I think England will can pass France and can win the World Cup. It just you have to play. I believe the one who will score first will win the game. We saw tonight Morocco and Spain. They tactics. It's about tactics. It doesn't matter who play better. It's just how to win the game. And I'm really maybe concerned about Mbappe. I hear that he wasn't in training in France today. I don't know why. And Dembele as well. They have a good team, but I think England have better team. But it's I think maybe last thing I will say, it's let's say it's psychological, maybe psychological intervention. I think they do this sometimes. I don't know about England, but they do this sometimes. This time need a great mind, not a great mind, a steady mind, and hopefully England can win. And also Brazil. I'm also afraid from Brazil. So I think England, France, Brazil. Nobody else will win this World Cup.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, the fact that you've just mentioned them are going through at the expense of Spain. This is a pre-recorded show, so that has just happened tonight. Going through on penalties, a really comfortable win for them on penalties as well. It has to be said. Brazil, of course, going through last night. Mitch, it's coming up to the business end of the World Cup now. What's your thoughts on England's performance?
Well, this is where it was always going to be harder, given the way the draw was going to work for it. We need to play better than we did against Senegal at times. Senegal got too many chances for my liking in that first 20 minutes. And I think if we were to give Mbappe any one of those chances, there's a good chance we'll be 1-0 down pretty quickly. That said, we grew into the game. And in the second half, really, Senegal were relying on hit and run. And how much of that was due to our tactics and how much was that them sticking to just a plan A, I don't know. But in the end, the scoreline looked comfortable and the win looked comfortable, really. Once the second went in, it was pretty much not in doubt. So at the end of the day, we're into knockout football. And all the records will ever show is who won the game. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to find a way to win the game. And that's what's up against the next. So they seem confident. They seem together as a squad. Nobody seems fazed by the two who've had to leave the camp for one reason or another. That hasn't affected the balance in the camp. In fact, if anything, it seems to have made people stronger. So I think onwards and upwards and all that. Let's just say. And I think whatever he picks in the next round, I think he's earned the right for everybody to chill their boots and just let it happen.
Yeah, George, was a good win. A lot of talk about it potentially being a bit like the Cameroon game in 1990, end to end. And it looked like that at the start, but once England got that first goal, Senegal just didn't have an answer.
Well, as someone speaking from downtown Wallsend, underneath the flight path of the Saudi Dreamliner that took the team and the officials to Saudi Arabia, so I feel part of it already because they're just above me here. It was, but the interesting things about overall impressions about the World Cup at this stage for me has pleased me the way that the little teams, the ones that weren't supposed to have any chance, have performed, like Japan, like Morocco, like Korea. They all give it a go, and I think. Japan particularly and others showed that if you've got the energy and the organisation, as Neil just said, it's not necessarily the team that's got all the skill that's going to win. It's the one that knows how to win the matches is going to win. But yeah, fair play to Southgate. He picked a team that wasn't everybody's choice. He changed the tactics importantly, I thought, at the right time. Instead of he switched from taking this short kick out and play it out from the back, and he was allowing short little hands, little arms to take long goal kicks and play the ball long, which I thought was very clever because it caught the opponents totally by surprise, and Senegal, in fact, couldn't handle it. I mean, there was no doubt about it that the long balls to Kane and the others up front, and then you add the fact that he allowed Bellingham and Foden something of a free rein to cause whatever havoc they wanted to. Fair play to him. He called it right, and he had the right players on the field to do it. So let's have some more when we play France.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back to England towards the end of the show with your predictions. Got to ask you, George, about this. Coventry City being issued an eviction notice by the stadium's new owners. Guess who? Mike Ashley's Fraser Group have told the club to leave, and they have no right to use the ground. I mean, this man really just stoops lower each time, doesn't he?
Well, it seemed to me that the next move is Coventry going to administration and he buys them for a song. I mean, it's almost written on the wall, isn't it? If that's not what he's about, well, what else is he about? Because Coventry aren't in a position to pay hundreds of thousands of pounds rent to use the ground. So he's either got that or some other scheme in mind, or maybe he's going to turn to rugby and turn to the rugby people and say, well, come back, you can have it. I don't know. But my impression would be he's going to find some way of getting the team lock, stock, and barrel for a song. And one way of doing that is to push them into administration and then buy them up when they can't get anybody else to do it. But it is, who else would do it? I mean, loads, the man doesn't help himself. He what annoys me greatly about him is he could have been a hero up here. The adulation he could have got just by putting a few $100,000 in at the right time when Rafa was our manager, and even others. Chris Houghton he got rid of Houghton when we were playing great. A few $100,000 at the right time, he could have been a hero. He could have been getting the adulation that our current owners are getting. But he turned his back on it. He wanted to do it his way. Well, his way is to become ultimately what he is now, a pariah in football, as far as I'm concerned. But that's my guess, is get them out, buy them cheap, and come back in at the bottom.
Yeah, it's something that we're, I guess, shrugging our shoulders and saying, at least it's not our problem, Neil. But it's hard to feel, no lack of sympathy for a team such as Coventry. I mean, they've got such a proud history, and to see that happening, Neil, isn't nice, is it? Really?
This is where I'm going to be a little contrarian. I don't think Mike Ashley has an absolute interest in Coventry City Football Club at all. I don't think he gives them monkeys. He's made them a new offer to come back, and part of that new offer is that they can't be in arrears anymore because they're consistently in arrears to the previous owners, and that was what gave the previous owners problems. But two conversations I've had in the not too distant past, and if Steve Hasty was here, he would back this up because he was involved in both the conversations. One guy out here who used to be on the board of Sports Direct had a conversation with us about Mike Ashley in general, and the phrase he used repeatedly was, "Mike's not for football. I don't understand why he got involved." And the other conversation we had was prior to that, when we were dealing with the Canadians that were interested in the club, and they consistently described any purchase of a sporting club as a real estate deal with a football problem. And overnight, he's got a real estate deal and he's got rid of the football problem. So he can do what he wants with that now. Now, he might have designs on doing something totally left field, because that's what he's got a track record of doing on occasion. So I wouldn't be surprised if he couldn't give a care about Coventry City Football Club, and he has a plan B lined up already, which doesn't involve him owning a football club, but making as much money out as he can out of that big lump of real estate that he's got.
Yeah, I would agree. Al-Walid, Mike Ashley's not our problem anymore, but he's still making headlines in the world of football, and all the wrong ones.
Well, I feel sorry for Coventry fans.
Of course.
So they really need to, they will have a, I don't know, I don't think they will raise them up, but it's depend. I don't know if they are happy or not. I didn't know about the fans' feeling, but wish them all the best, the fans.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue where football fans will certainly help support any kind of protest and any kind of petition. I think there's one already up there. I'm not sure what it's hit yet, but I'm going to give that a share. Steve, it's not our problem. I keep saying that, but it's Mike Ashley just doing his best to upset football fans again.
Yeah, well, I feel very sad for the Coventry fans. It was my second club. I lived down that area for 10 years, from 85 to 80. To 95, and I used to go quite regularly to see Coventry because they were in the first division and then the Premier League when it first started in those days, and got a lot of friends that were Coventry fans. So I feel very sorry for how it's developed, but it's not a new problem. Coventry's been in trouble for a few years since the move from Highfield Road and took over that ground, and then it didn't work, and they played Northampton, I think, for a while. I'm leaning towards Mitch's theory rather than George's, because would he pass owners and directors test to be allowed to take over at Coventry? I think we can probably give some evidence against that one. But I also heard today I wasn't sure what he's entitled to do with the land. You know, yes, it's real estate, but if it's got a football or a rugby stadium plonked on it, is he tied to that for any reason? I don't know. That's the $64,000 question. Obviously, if he can flatten it, then there's a great chance he can make a killing from just using the land. But it was so difficult to predict what he wanted to do up here that I feel the same down there. I really don't know what his plan is, but I'm erring more on not getting involved in taking Coventry over, irrespective of what the price is, and for some other plan that we don't really know what it is.
Stu, what was your first thoughts when you saw that story break?
I was similar to Rio Ferdinand. Shouldn't Coventry fans be grateful that they've got Mike Ashley involved with them? You know, clearly that's a joke. It's such a shame. But the thing is, if you take the emotion out of it, which is difficult to do because football is an emotional business, Ashley's seen this as a business opportunity. But if you break it down a bit further, he's got it. He's got the land or the real estate as it is. He's got it knocked down price, and that may be his intention because he's floated ideas of hotels or supermarkets or things like that. But the people of Coventry, I believe, wouldn't invest in it. You know, even if they built a block of flats there or something like that, I don't think the people would go for it. So whether he sells it on to a third party at a profit, because that's what he's about. He's about making profit, seeing opportunity, and taking advantage of it. But because football is an emotional business, I'm more than sure he's got a plan. Now, whether that's as has been touted, put them in administration and then take the club on and come riding on his very sturdy white horse, and come into Coventry like Lady Godiva did, I suppose. Was Coventry Lady Godiva? Wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Because you wouldn't want to look at him either, would you? so that you could get away with that. But with Coventry, he's already saying that the proper fans, there's clubs up and down the land. Every club has proper fans with them. But it's whether it's vindication of, yes, Newcastle fans were right all along about him. But it seems to be more of a national outcry now, which is, I think it's the way he's went about it. And it's quite clear that he hasn't been sly. He's done it business-wise, but from a football supporter's perspective, he's done it slyly. But I still think there's legs in it yet. And as long as he walks away with a profit, he'll hold on as long as he can. Like he did with us, he'll hold on as long as he can. He'll make his money, and off he goes. Because half of Glasgow is upset with him, half the North East upset with him. Now he's into the Midlands. You know, there's not many places left to go. He have to go further south soon, won't he? So yeah, with Ashley, it is about money, and as Mitch referred to earlier, there he's not involved in football that much, so he doesn't see what the hoo-ha is about it. He just sees that, well, I've bought this business cheap and I can make money out of it. It just mirrors his Sports Direct empire, doesn't it? Stack them high, sell them cheap. So he's got this cheap, and he'll try and make it. Well, he will make a profit. I'm absolutely certain of it.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I agree. It's just, our hearts go out to the Coventry fans, and if there's any way we can support them, I'm sure Newcastle United fans will. TV times, wow. Newcastle United's latest fixtures on TV were announced a couple of days ago. And after the Carabao Cup tie, 9 out of 10 League and Cup games have been picked for live TV transmission. George, is this a good thing or a bad thing for Newcastle? I guess it's a good thing if you can't get tickets.
I was about to say it's a good thing for those that have to stay at home. But by and large, I'm not sure it's a good thing. I'm still old-fashioned enough to want to see people supporting their team on the terraces and waving their flags and rattling their rattles and all that sort of thing. It's still making the match an occasion. I think I said the last couple of times on the programme before, when we're talking about what St James's Park's like now, making it a match an occasion was what I was brought up with. When we got ready to go to the match on a Saturday, it was all important where we went after the match and all the rest of it. The match sometimes is almost incidental, but we had a great time, and I would like to see people having a great time, and the best time is had on the terraces. It's not had in the living room sitting watching it on the box, although you've got all the pundits and all the rest of it. But I still prefer to, as I say, make an occasion of it on the terraces, not in the front room.
Mitch, I guess the inconvenience for those fans wanting to go to the games, whether it's somebody travelling from, say, London to come to the game at Newcastle, or someone travelling to one of the numerous away fixtures that are being covered, it's the kick-off times, isn't it? Which not only causes a problem because sometimes there's no last train, so you have to decide how else you're going to get there. And also just the added expense, because if somebody decides, well, I only want to go down by train, then it's an overnight stay, so there's a cost factor to take into consideration as well.
We've talked at length about all of this and more, and about how they sometimes change their minds at the last minute. At least travelling fans are getting a little bit of time and a little bit of warning out of this. They're not changing it with a week's notice, which has been done plenty of times. That's the one positive you can look at this. And then let's expand it around the world. Let's feel for the guys and gals in Australia who will now be watching at 3:30 in the morning. The guys in Singapore who are ahead of us, and they have to find inventive ways to allow the bar to stay open to get around the licensing laws there. And we whinge about it being a little bit later on a Saturday sometimes, but actually for us that suits us just fine. It's always going to be something attached to Newcastle United. When we do well, we get picked for more television games. Why? Because our fans watch all over the world in great numbers. And at the moment, we are box office. And the hypocrites sitting in the Sky Sports boardroom want box office. Some of the same people who will be leading the whinge about human rights and all sorts in another stroke and in another way. They want it both ways. And unfortunately, as well, we know, and I had in writing once from the Football League, the football does what Sky says. It's that simple.
Al-Walid, it means that football supporters far and wide can watch games. I mean, is it a positive thing, do you think, for the games to be televised? Does it show the growing appeal, I guess, of Newcastle United? Because a few years ago there weren't many Newcastle games being shown, but now they're being shown because Newcastle are playing well and scoring goals and currently in third place in the league.
Now I think it's getting Newcastle games getting more demand all over the world. For us here, no problem. But I feel sometimes, most of the time, or maybe every game, when I see the fans talking, I don't have a ticket, who have a spare. So if the game televised, I think this is a good thing, because I'm sure the stadium also will be full. I don't think will be a worry. I hope I understand the question right.
Yeah, no, you did. Steve, good thing or bad thing, all this TV coverage?
Well, from a personal point of view, the kickoff times aren't great. I like to have a traditional go to the pub at lunchtime on a Saturday. You see the game at 3:00, and then we go out with our friends and wives on a Saturday night. But we'll not be doing that till at least the middle of March, the way things are going. On the positive from another side, I think if ever we're going to become everybody's second favourite team like we were in the 90s, this is the time to do it, because it's going to get plenty of exposure. I don't know what it means to Newcastle commercially, because obviously I'm assuming you get more when your games are televised. Is this something we're going to be able to use in the way that Barcelona do and project that future income into the transfer window? It'd be interesting to see. I guess it's not significant enough to do that, but if you get a couple of million quid for being on the telly, then it's all extra income, which
it's every little helps, Steve. It's look at it that way. Look at it that way.
Yeah. And while we're looking at January and February, the first game in March is Man City away, so you can bet your bottom dollar that one's going to be on as well. So we'll not be getting many 3 o'clocks coming up, I think, in the foreseeable future.
No, definitely not. Stu, finally with you on this one. Happy to see the Newcastle becoming a TV favourite again.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any reason to complain at all. It's brilliant. If we could be on live every week, because as the guy second to my left, Mr. It's Coming Home, said, they'll fill the stadium anyway, home and away. So it's not going to have any detrimental effect on the capacity or the crowd at St. James, is it? And it does give people, I mean, we're lucky here with the beard deal that we can watch every game anyway, even if it's an Arabic commentary and watch the game. And if you're in the bar, you don't listen to commentary anyway. So the fact is, the kind of well-used phrase over the last few months is we're massive now, aren't we? So people want to watch us. People want to. It's like a curiosity thing, isn't it? They wanted to see how we were going to grow, hoping that would fall flat on our face. And the fact that we didn't stumble, we've ended up not even jogging. We're in a full blast sprint now, aren't we? People now want to be it's now become compulsive viewing watching Newcastle, and I think as a team, the way they've conducted themselves as players, as a manager, as a coach and stuff, it's been very admirable, and I think it's attracting the attention where people up and down the country want to see this high energy game that we're playing. And the fact is that we've only lost that one game all season. Of course we're going to be box office, and I hope we're box office for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, because that means we're doing well. The only slight on it is the kickoff times, and again the travelling fan hasn't been taken into consideration. The Bournemouth away fixture is an absolute joke, as is Brighton at home at 12:30. I mean, we've had to go to Brighton a few times for the 12:30 kickoffs. So I think every Newcastle fan who's done that journey, and I think Mr. It's Coming Home did that journey as well, didn't you, to Brighton on was it a morning kickoff? Was it afternoon, evening kickoff, wasn't it? But we've all done it in one way or another over the years, where you either get the clipper down to London at night, or you stay, you end up to walk around the streets, bars and whatever, and it's added cost, but it's very inconvenient. And for Brighton fans, you imagine they finish work on a Friday evening, and then they've got a choice: do they drive straight to Newcastle and try and enjoy what's left of the Newcastle nightlife for the Friday night, or do they try and get some kip and drive up really early to watch the team get battered? So it's difficult for their fans, but we've got it. I mean, we're the most northerly club in the league, obviously, so we do more travelling than every other team in that league. But you have to empathise and sympathise with the teams that have to go up to Newcastle for 12:30 kickoffs, especially the ones as far as Brighton. I think common sense should have prevailed then. They could have made that the 5:30 kickoff, and that would have been more suitable. It's the only one that isn't it? There's a rack of them at 5:30, and then that's the one that's at 12:30, the one that first away. So that's the only gripe about it. But I think Newcastle being on gives them more exposure, and as Mitch gave his little Tesco advert there, of every little helps, it does add into the coffers, and it's something you can then bank against. You know, if you look at the financial fair play, look, we're likely to be on 15 to 20 times a season now, and where this money's expected, that's why we can spend that money. So it all fits in nicely with the way the club's grown. So you bring them on every game live.
Okay, great stuff. Halfway through the show, time for the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors, starting off with Skips and Bins. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. The website is www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free, and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks also to Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists. Find them at thegohd.com. Thanks also to 3 Properties, and they specialize in sourcing investment properties for their clients who are looking to invest in the Northeast. They offer a full in-house service from sourcing the deals to managing the properties for you. They've done over 100 plus deals in the past 12 months for clients all over the UK. Give them a follow on Instagram, matty.patter_northeast property and phil.reed_northeast property, or email phil@3property.co.uk if you're interested in getting a good property deal. Big thanks also to Mr. Vicky's sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at mrvickys.co.uk or order some of the sauces by calling 01768 210 102 or emailing info@mrvickys.co.uk. Thanks also to Blowhole Brewery, and their cans are vast and in the shape of the old Newcastle United strips from the 1990s. Bonnie Blonde, Geordie Juice, and Fog of the Tyne. Some great beers. Get yourself to blowholebrewery.co.uk to order your cans in for the festive period. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button on the bottom right-hand corner. Hit the like button and click share. Please join the channel as well to support us. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to join the channel, you can use this QR code or just go to nufcmatters.com and look for membership pack. If you join in that particular way, you get a scarf, a cup, a pen, and a membership card, and entry into the monthly draw. We also give you a free car sticker. All you need to do is subscribe to the show and then email john@nufcmatters.com to claim it. We also support the food bank on this channel, nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. Go to that website and make a virtual donation today. A couple of events coming up. Paul Gascoigne is at the Fed on the 4th of December. Contact the Fed in Dunstan and Gateshead for more information. And Peter Beardsley, 20 tickets left for this, is at St Dom's Catholic Club in Newcastle on the 10th of February next year. Contact St Dom's via their contact details on their website or on Twitter. If you're looking for a Christmas present for a Newcastle fan, you can go to badboysbooks.net. You could order a copy of Enemy from the Bender Squad to the Gremlins, or the last remaining copies of Black or White, No Grey Areas by Lee Clark and Will Scott. If you're looking for a Christmas jumper for your night out, go to nufcmatters.com and get your Bruno jumper today. Yes, and I know I'll have to update the ads. The Gaza event is over and done with, but don't worry, I haven't had time to do it. Let's move on. Newcastle United are in Saudi Arabia, as are half the NUFC Matters team. Going to be over there watching the game this Thursday. But just wanted to start off, George, with the fact that Newcastle took away 5 academy prospects. They've got Lewis Miley, Alex Murphy, Dylan Stevenson, Jay Turner-Cook, and Joe White. All out there at the first team training camp. What will it be like for them? Because, you know, going out there, training with the first team and in Saudi Arabia as well, it must be a hell of a buzz for the youngsters.
Steve, I can relate to it, not in the same way, but nearly. I remember as a 15-year-old when I was playing in the juniors, and Benny Craig, who's been talked about on Twitter today, actually, interestingly enough, said to us, the boss wants to see you, George. And I trotted in to see the manager. And I was told I was going to Stoke with the Central League side. Well, yeah, it was like, yeah, I think I'd won the bloody cup. And all I was doing was sitting in the back of the bus going to Stoke. The best I was going to do was help to carry the boots in or carry the strips in. But what a feeling. It was amazing. I went home and told my father, oh, my God, you think we'd won the cup? It was incredible. So how those lads must feel and their families must feel stepping out with the first team and stepping onto that aeroplane and flying out with them. It just got to be good. And what it's saying to all the others back home, hey, stick in, and this is where you're going. You're going to the top with this team if you just stick in and do your best. Can only be good, Steve. I mean, it's incredible. And just to add even more to that, is the way our owners are playing everything at the moment, I'm absolutely delighted with. there are nearly, reputedly, there are over 100 members of the administrative team on that aeroplane as well. So, you know, they're going to get people to work overtime for now for trips like that. You know, the goodwill feeling that that's going to bring into the club is got to be immeasurable. But for those young kids at the ages that they are, it says to them, well, I'm actually in with a chance. The boss is actually looking at me. The coaches are looking at me. Oh, incredible.
Yeah, Mitch, great opportunity, isn't it, for the youngsters? And obviously given the opportunity because we still have quite a few on international duty, but certainly a good way of rewarding kids who are sticking in and, you know, obviously making the grade. It
shows a much greater degree of joined-up thinking within our football club. This is exactly what Dan Ashworth was brought in to do. This is exactly what Eddie Howe does with the first team. If you put the effort in and you deliver, you get the rewards. And so that means that ethos is now spreading through the depth of the club. And that's exactly why we needed somebody like Dan Ashworth to come in to be, as he says, the hub that supports the spokes of the wheel and makes it all function. And so I'm delighted for the lads. They will feel on cloud nine. I've got no doubt about that. But then it also says hard work is rewarded. And that's not just to one level of the club. I think that just says it throughout. And again, like I say, shows a joined up kind of thinking we've not had for years. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, Alwali, you've been out there. You've seen the players arrive. You've seen the players in and around Saudi. The youngsters, have you seen any of the younger players, or did they seem to be enjoying themselves?
Actually, I saw the whole players at first day, and for the youngster, I watched them in the mall. They are walking separately. They are taking a tour, and I met them. They are so nice, and I wish them all the best. And this is a good thing, of course. You need to give a steady team ready, great backup for the team, because you can't every window buy expensive players in all positions. You need players youngest from your own blood to fill the first team, beside the players you are bringing from the transfer market.
Yeah, good point to make that. Steve Wilkinson, I mean, we've seen Garen Kowal become the youngest player as well to feature in a World Cup. But in that 12 months that we've had, you know, we've 30 months we've had under the new owners, you know, yes, we've made some big name signings, but we've certainly improved the youth setup in the academy, and more of that to come. And these kind of trips away, rewarding those young kids for the effort they're putting in is certainly, you know, is only going to encourage more maybe to come to St James's Park.
That's very much so what I was going to say. One, it's a confidence builder to be, as George got the thrill of going to Stoke. I think there's a T-shirt there somewhere if you can get the wording right on George going to Stoke. But you know, the confidence it gives to those lads to be in the environment, and it means that when we're going, you know, as Dan Ashworth and the others will be going to recruit players in the future, you can say, well, you know, this is what you can do. There's you know, twice a year you'll go to Saudi, which is what we seem to be doing, and being involved with the first team. And you never know, you might get the break and get into the team at a younger age, because I think that's one of the things that we'll see more so in the next few years. It's been a long time.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I did not reply, but I will get to, and that was for dinner.
The Geisha girls
thank you so much. I love you too.
It's me granddaughter saying thank you for her birthday message.
Didn't know I even said that.
Where did that come from, though?
Off the phone.
On his phone, a message from
the phone. It's
good job. That's what it was.
It's a WhatsApp message, Steve.
I've got you. Okay. Well, if George is quite finished listening to his personal messages, Steve, you can continue.
You're on mute.
Right.
You're on mute, Mitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
he is.
when
Yeah, go on, Steve.
we're gonna attract new players in, it's another selling point, I think, and it shows that you're going to break through. And I think what we'll see in the next few years is that teenagers playing for us. We haven't really seen much of that. It's the one or two have had the odd game, but I can see us getting an 18 or 19-year-old into the first team as almost a regular in the next couple of years. And is it Garang Cool, or is it any of these guys that's going away, that the chance they've got to start impressing Eddie Howe and fitting into the first team training and getting a start or at least a decent run from the subs bench? It's some of them have been on the bench, but they've made nothing more than a gesture appearance in the last minute. But to see one of those lads come on for 20-30 minutes in the second half because they're good enough and because they've been, it's not going to be a fear for them because they're mixing with these players, and it's got to be a great thing.
Yeah, Stu, it is good to see the youth coming through, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because the ones that have been chosen, they'll go back to their respective groups and wax lyrical about the trip, and it'll generate envy, but in a good way. It'll channel people to say, I want to be in the next one, and it raises the game. So it can only benefit the club as a whole through each level. And something that went under the radar, I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere, I think I'll call it the tale of two defenders. It was really good to see Emil Kraft there, which tells me that his recovery is closer than what had initially been predicted. But also Dan Byrne was missing from the original trip. Now, after speaking with certain people, I understood that he's got a case of the Seb Blatters or Eartha Kitts or whatever analogy you want to use. Yeah. So he wasn't able to travel. So maybe he's had his Imodium and he's out since, but that's why he wasn't there. Now, there's something that George said that's pricked my ears up again about the 100-odd people there with admin and stuff like that. Newcastle don't have an admin that big, but there is a film crew that could be with them, couldn't it? Now, if you remember, I said all or nothing, didn't I? And I've been informed yesterday from someone here in Saudi Arabia who does have connections with the owners that he says that we are getting filmed by all or nothing and it's been kept quiet. So if I've just blown that secret, then I'm sorry. But that's what I was told, and it substantiates what I mentioned. Well, at least before the season started, anyway. So we'll see what comes of it. We'll see if that's who is there. Waleed, you're at the airport and you're stalking them, so you'll know if you've seen anyone with all or nothing stickers on the cameras or anything like that. But we'll find out tomorrow, Mitch. It's only 27 degrees here, so bring a jumper. And this is a bit cold. It gets down to 19 at night, you know.
Bloody hell. Jesus Christ, I'm sitting here in 4 degrees today. Anyway, Stu, I'll come to you first on this. Isaac, the news come out today at the press conference. He's not going to play any part in the friendly this week. Not going to play against the visitors to St James's Park before the big kick-off against Bournemouth in the Cup. Yeah. Eddie Howe says he'd probably try and get him. He's hoping to get him fit between, by Bournemouth or Leicester. So they are still treating him with kid gloves, aren't they?
Absolutely, and I think that was the original timescale as well, wasn't it? To be the hope to have him under a mini pre-season, but he's our record transfer player, and the last thing we need is to rush him back too quickly and create a setback. The squad is literally bouncing at the minute, and this gaps in the window has come in the season. It's come perfectly for him and for Alan St. Maximin as well. It gives them time to get up to full speed, and they won't risk any of them until they are 100%. And even then, for a fact that Eddie Howe will just blend them in slowly but surely. And it's the right way, but it's a nice position to be in that we don't have to rush them back. I know the coin phrase of it'd be like a new signing, but it will be like a new signing. It'll be like a brand new signing, but a brand new signing that's been with the squad for 4 or 5 months, getting to know the other players, the camaraderie, the work ethic that's expected, etc., etc. And again, it will only benefit Newcastle. But is it nice to say that's like a new signing rather than someone's coming back from a couple of games suspension or something? You know, was it not something about Isaac Hayden when he'd been injured for a couple of games over Christmas? And it's like a new signing coming back. Well, this is the levels that we're playing at now when we've got an international class striker coming back. So that is like a new signing for us. And he'll play not when he's ready, when Eddie Howe thinks he's ready. And again, we can't speak highly enough of Eddie Howe's leadership at the moment. So long may it continue.
Yep, Isaac coming back will be like a new player, Steve, won't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, we don't know. We've debated lots on this show and many others of where is he going to play, and it gives us time to work on that. And we're not desperate for him to be in at the moment. Hopefully, the little knock that Wilson's had is minor, and he's gonna come back. Whether he's back for a Bournemouth game, I don't know. It depends how far England go. I suppose if they end it all on Saturday, there's every chance he'll be back and able to play against Bournemouth. But if they go all the way, then obviously he won't be. But I think that it's good for him. I would like to think. I'm sure he's itching to play, but it's good to show how well the club's looking after him and not rushing him back and putting extra pressure on him when he's injured. He's certainly had a chance to acclimatise to what life's like in the northeast and with the players that he's got. So you know he's going to get that part at least. And I'm sure we'll see him. You know, there's a lot of games starting once we get back after the new year and the Christmas program. So I'm sure we'll see him in January and firing on all cylinders, hopefully.
Al-Walid, are you looking forward to seeing Isaac pull on the black and white shirt again?
I saw Isaac.
Are you looking forward to seeing Isaac play for Newcastle?
Yeah, of course. And I saw him in training, and I saw him also in the hotel. I think he's, I don't know. I think he's fine, but maybe they didn't want to rush him maybe into the games. I think maybe a new injury for him. So I think that's the reason. But I don't think it will last more time.
Mitch, the lads are talking about where you would play. I mean, we discussed it before on here, but you know, I still think he'll end up wide, you know, in a wide position. I don't think Eddie Howe's going to change his formation, but he is being cautious about bringing him back too quickly, and rightly so. I think, as Stu said.
So he should be, because thigh strains are as bad as hamstring strains for re-injury, and that's the problem. And that was the problem. Is he picked up I guess what must have been a grade 1, and then towards the end of his rehab turned it into a grade 2, and so the expected return date's probably about right for a grade 2 thigh strain. But they're absolutely notorious for re-injury, and so I have to be very careful with him. So it makes sense. Just bring him back when he's ready. The beauty is we've got the players playing at a level whereby we don't have to rush them back, and so that's a luxury that is almost anathema to Newcastle United, really. So I think enjoy it while we can, but I think it's a sensible approach. You know, they've brought him back into outside of the main training group, but he is training on grass again, which is a phrase they like to use these days, which just basically means he's back out into more of a normal training pattern, but obviously not up to full speed yet. So I think they're right to wrap them up in cotton wool, because I would rather you miss the first 2 games once the season restarts, and then we've got him available for the entire rest of the season, than bring him back too quick and find he's out for another 6 to 8 games. You know, that would be disastrous. So I think they're very right to be careful with him.
Yeah, George. I think it will just be great to see him, you know, back on the pitch in black and white, and gives us a new option.
It would. Well, I've got to say, these modern players are bloody soft. I mean, if Steve Bruce had been on that bench, he'd have been saying to him, "Run it off, Bonnie lad, run it off," and he would be back on in 5 minutes, and then off for the next 12 months, because that's what he did to Dwight Gale. I mean, Dwight Gale was notoriously sticky about hamstrings and thigh strains and calf strains. And what did Bruce do? He made him run all the time. No, it just another example of how together our team of trainers, administrators, and coaches and fitness men are together, making sure that the people who matter, the players, the valuable assets we've got, are being treated properly and in a way in which it allows them to do their job properly and to the best of their ability. And we get the benefit of that as fans. If they're on top door, then we see it, and that's great. So no, it's right to take that time. It all the nonsense we've seen before with the dinosaur that we used to have is long gone, and thank God for that.
Yeah, thank God for that. 100%. It's exciting times at Newcastle, and hopefully as the January transfer window opens, Newcastle will see maybe one or two more additions as well. Just a little bit about the trip to Saudi then, George. It's upon us now. They got a nice welcome there, the players and Amanda, etc. As we've heard, there's a big team of people out there. You and I, when we're doing those with the days, often talk about these pre-season friendlies in between games. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. This one, we needed these games, but yeah. What do you think about this trip to Saudi again?
Well, it's fantastic. It's all organised, and they've got even the bloody coaches on Newcastle United coaches. I mean, they've gone to a lot of trouble to make them feel welcome. I mean, remember when you and I, in the early days of those were the days I talked about the 52-51 Cup team that went on a tour of South Africa, paid for by a cigarette company. 19 games in 40 days, all over South Africa. South Africa, Mozambique, Tanzania, all on trains and planes, and when they came back, they were absolutely knackered. Nearly cost them the league the next season, because they only got back in time just to start training for the next season. So all of this is so good to my ears and eyes to see all this happening. The welcome, the way they were treated. It just again, it just shows the organization, the detail of the organization of our owners and the people that work for them, making sure that this is all smoothly operated. And as I say, to see two huge coaches with Newcastle United emblazoned on the side. Actually, on one of them, I think I've seen a picture of bloody Shola Amiobi, but never mind. Great, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Mitch, it's it's something you're going to be attending. Are you looking forward to seeing Newcastle United play out there?
Of course, looking forward to it. It'll be my first trip to Saudi for all I've been out here for 10 years. I've never got across to Saudi. It'll be good to experience it. Good to see us being regional and global ambassadors in a way. And also, it's worth mentioning at this point, I think, you look at all that effort that's gone into welcoming Newcastle United and setting this up and doing all of this here. And we've still got people working their tickets and making mischief, saying, oh, they're going to sell Newcastle and buy Man United and this, that, and the other. I think it's absolutely worth mentioning now. The geopolitics that was at play during the takeover are still at play now. People are still trying to do, there's a squirrel type distraction articles to take the focus off Qatar and put it back onto Saudi. And this is exactly what somebody with a proven track record of being a Saudi agent, being a Qatari agent rather, writing anti-Saudi stories from a Qatari point of view, is now doing, putting the cat amongst the pigeons and getting certain fellow journalists to even use his lines to say, well, I might be going on a limb here, but ... and using it almost like a mockery of the situation that we have. The Saudi sports minister has made it absolutely clear that PIF are all in on Newcastle United and only Newcastle United. What he has also said is that he welcomes any private investor to come and take it on. That's a challenge. That's them saying, come on and beat it if you can. Because they know the only true value was buying Newcastle United. PIF have got enough money, they could have bought Man United at any stage in the last 10 years. Easily. If they'd wanted it, they could have had it. Why didn't they do it? Because it wasn't value. There wasn't any value in it. Same with Liverpool. It's not going to happen, and people need to just chill and not let themselves be wound up by certain worky tickets with a proven track record of being wrong all throughout the takeover.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll cover this more in depth on Friday. Al Walid, good to see Newcastle back in Saudi. You've seen them there before. You've seen them again. Are you looking forward to the game this week?
Of course, Steve. And this is first time to come to Riyadh. They came to Jeddah last season. So everybody, and I think the major fans are in Riyadh. We are very happy. Actually, it's very hard to catch any Geordie in Riyadh. They are really enjoying themselves. They are going everywhere. Tomorrow we have a gathering at Special Cafe tomorrow, the whole day, and all fans, Geordie fans are invited. It's really exciting times, and of course, I wish Newcastle came to Riyadh at least twice a season. It's really great to have them and play, and also they play with Al Hilal. Also, Al Hilal is actually my Saudi team, so it's really great. And I have 2 tickets, one at Al Hilal and one at Newcastle, and I still didn't decide yet, but I think I'm going to Newcastle this time.
Good lad. Steve, we're sitting at home watching this. It'll be on NUFC TV, of course, Thursday night at 8 o'clock, free for us to watch. But it is good, isn't it? It's a feel-good factor, and it's good to see the players happy, smiling, and bonding together. A little bit of warm weather training before they get back to the reality of a good old northeast winter.
Yeah, I think it's good from all components of the club. As you say, there's administrators going over that. They'll no doubt milk the PR opportunities that are there. There's a chance for future sponsors to get involved in a subtle sort of sense. We've not heard anything officially about Saudi Air, but they were at the ground at Newcastle, for one of the games a few times ago. They've used their airline to take them out, and I think subtly they're getting involved with them, and I'm sure that will start to happen with other organisations in that area. And they'll see how we operate as a club, and it's from close hand. So I suspect that others will be doing this sort of travel that Stu and Mitch have done to that region from the MENA areas, and looking at saying, look, this is the club that you want to look to invest in and support and sponsor. So I think it's an overall very positive exercise on all fronts, and look forward to being a great success.
Stu, last but by no means least, looking forward to the game.
Yeah, I just can't believe I'm at work in Riyadh this week when Newcastle are playing. I mean, the coincidence and chances of that happening.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable that consider I was meant to be there 2 weeks ago. No, I think it's best I go early December. But Steve Wilkinson couldn't have set me up any better for what he's just mentioned there. So Saudi Airlines and the STC were both on the advertising boards, weren't they, against Chelsea? Yeah. And they started creating a bit of a stir about it. Oh, yeah, they come. But the word I was going to say is it was a subtle introduction.
Oh.
But it shows that the big companies in the region are lining up and want to be associated with Newcastle United. They want to be associated with PIF, because being associated with PIF can open them many doors in other ways within their businesses as well. And it's a status symbol to say, yes, we're an affiliation of Newcastle United, we're an affiliation with PIF. But the one that was announced today, because the Saudi for this trip has been branded as the official, what was it? Not the official flight, it was the official travel partner.
Travel partner,
yeah. Yeah, and the STC are now the official media partner for this.
Media partner, yeah.
Media communications, yeah. Now, this is the same STC that sponsored Man United for millions for over 12 years. And nothing was ever said about it. So let's see what happens now. STC have officially, even on a small foot, like get your first foot on the ladder, so to speak. Now that STC have decided that they'd rather invest in a club a bit further north than Man United. Let's see what happens, because for sure you'll have the usual suspects. I don't know, did you want to mention Simon Chadwick there, Mitch, or did you just want to allude to him?
Well, I think we're going to keep the same on Chadwick for Friday. I just want to say as well, it's
Let me leave that for
STC,
Friday. But there's people jump on the bandwagon, and it's absolutely no chance on this planet that they will get rid of Newcastle United for any other club, let alone Man United. They've done a lot of due diligence with this. They've seen the potential, and to use a phrase that we've used many, many, many times on this, they see this as a business to make money, and they'll invest as much as they can, and the profit percentage-wise is absolutely huge. We've already discussed I was at last week, Man United and Liverpool can't give them that much profit, and Newcastle has already trebled the value, I would say, in the last 12 months. There really is no limit to how big this club could become, and with the right investment, and as George mentioned near at the start with Mike Ashley, had he made the right investment at the right time, this area was always, or this club was always waiting to catch fire. You know, it was like a bonfire night, wasn't it? All the wood was there, all the paper was there, just no one wanted to light it. Well, PF have come with a big blowtorch, and we're off and running now. They're not going to go anywhere else.
Great analogy, and it is STC, folks, not STD, not to be mistaken there. So just in case anyone's a little bit hard of hearing. Okay.
You deserve a clap for that clarification.
You were itching to say that, weren't you?
Well, I bet you're having some crabs tonight, lads. Anyway, quick
oh dear me!
Quick prediction for the England game, George, please.
Popped on your houses. Sorry.
Prediction.
Oh, 2-1 England.
2-1 England, Mitch.
2-1 to France, I think.
Alwaleed.
3-2 England.
Oof. Steve.
I think it'll be ones each, and I think there'll be a penalty shootout, and I haven't got a clue which way that'll go. But fingers crossed, it'll be us, and we'll have another game. It's about time we had a tough game, and I think that's when it's coming on Saturday.
And our newly christened England fans, Stu.
I don't know where you keep getting this from.
From your own mouth.
It's in the paper.
No, I said we and said it was just a slip, one letter, one word. Anyway, I believe England will score twice, but I also believe France will score twice. So I think it'll be Desmond, and then extra time. I think England will win in extra time. How about that?
Oh, go on, Stu. You're starting to become a big fan now. I can see.
No, I'll keep backing them to win, and if they do it, then I'll say I told you so. And if they didn't, I'll say it's such a shame.
Okay, thanks for joining us on Geordies there. I'm back on Thursday with Supermac and Gibbo at the slightly earlier time of 11 o'clock in the morning. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to George. Thanks to Mitch. Thanks to Alwaleed, Steve, and Stu. Take care, lads.
Cheers,
everyone.
Cheers, everybody.